So what is the earliest memory you can remember?
Um, um,
Um,
oh, that's hard. I've had a lot of trauma. Oh, the earliest memory I can remember is my mom bringing home my brother and me being able to like hold him in my arms. I remember I felt like our house was dark. It's almost like it was an underexposed photograph. That's kind of what I related to. And the house was really big, and I was on a long sofa. And I only remember my brother being placed in my arms, and then me looking down at him.
The first thing comes to mind when I think of an earliest memory is sitting in my kitchen in like my high chair thing, falling asleep while my sister kind of came up and looked at me and then just ran away. Yeah.
The earliest memory is, it's not like a fully formed memory, but it's just like an image of a rocking chair. Like somebody just got up out of a rocking chair, so it's still kind of rocking. And there's a hardwood floor and a vaulted ceiling.
The earliest memory I can remember, okay, so I'm like, maybe 3 years old, and I pick my boogers and I wipe them next to my bed in the dark by my bed. That's my earliest memory. I don't know why.
My earliest memory is sitting under a desk. I was living with my cousins at the time, and my cousin had dolls, but my cousin was a little older than me and she couldn't get underneath the desk. And so I would take her dolls and I would crawl under the desk where she could not get me, and I would pull their hair out.
I guess I have this one memory of like finding a bunch of cockroaches under my bed while I was a kid, and I was like, ew, what's that? And it was a bunch of fucking cockroaches.
Probably, no, like when my second sister was being born, outside on the porch with my grandma, and I asked my grandma, like, where my mom was, and she's like, oh, she's at the hospital giving birth to your sister, and I didn't understand that, obviously, but, you know, that's one of the earliest ones.
Me and my best friend from elementary school, she would come over and we'd have this inflatable pool in my parents' backyard, and we would have these like Ken dolls, and we would like play with them, Barbies and stuff like that. And there would be this game that we would play where like the Barbies would get angry at the Ken dolls, and then we'd like throw them out of the pool. And we called it the Ken toss. I think that's probably it.
When we first moved to Idaho, I must have been about 2 years old. We had a Chevy Corsica, and I remember along the back windshield there was a dead wasp that scared me, and we got out of the car and went furniture shopping. My grandma was there.
I remember there was this one time my parents and I took a drive up to around the Bogus area, and we got up on this like really rocky cliff, and I remember we walked out to the edge of the cliff and kind of looked over the bit, and it was just basically the sheer drop, and you know, we're up there in like the dead of winter, there's snow on the ground and shit, and we're coming back down off the cliff, and I slip and I bust my head open like right here, and I was bleeding, and my parents actually have some pictures of it, and I'm just bawling my eyes out, and there's like just this little dash of blood right here, so much worse than I remember it, but that's, I think, the earliest one.
Let's see, the first memory I remember, I was probably like 3.5 years old, and I think I remember it so well just because I got hurt on the playground, and I was on one of those spiderweb jungle gym, like metal interweaved toys that I was like on top of it, and from the story, I remember swinging back and hitting my head, and so I just have this weird picture that almost was like a dream of like me upside down with blood like dripping across my face, and that's my earliest memory, but it's super horrific, and I think I remember it because it was very terrifying.
I don't know, I want to say like maybe like when I was around like 4 or 5, like skiing with my parents at Bogus. That's probably the earliest memory I have. We were just like, I was like first learning how to ski, and I had the little, I don't remember what they were called, but the little white wedge things that they had on your skis when we were going down the cat trails. And I was fully pretending that we were the Powerpuff Girls. I was specifically Bubbles, my dad was Buttercup, and my mom was Blossom. Because I had a very imaginative childhood like the Powerpuff Girls. But yeah, that was literally probably the first thing I can remember.
My earliest memory would be sleeping in a crib and like waking up from a nap and then looking for my mom and wondering when she was gonna come get me out of the crib.
I actually have a memory of being in my crib when I was a baby before I could actually talk. So it's like super ambiguous, and I remember the room was like yellow, and I remember some people's faces coming to look over me, and you know, all those adults doing weird things, they making faces and googly sounds to babies.
The earliest memory I have is getting my first cat, which was Keenie, and she hid behind a stove when we went to go pick her up, and I think I was 2. And that's my it's literally just that, is getting a kitten that hid behind a stove, and then there's nothing else. I don't remember what house, it wasn't our house, but we were picking up a kitten. And that's it.